Stuart Stevens, it strikes me as I listen to John that there's some real family similarities between Bill Weld, the Weld family, and the Bush family. The old line New England WASP-style Republicans, stylistically very similar people. But you're now fully engaged in trying to help Bill Weld move toward possibly a campaign for the Republican presidential nomination. We think of the challenges we've seen in the past in these situations. The very first one that I think we all saw was 1968 with Gene McCarthy. McCarthy didn't win the nomination, but the president he challenged didn't win the nomination or the presidency either. We saw that happen with Pat Buchanan challenging George H.W. Bush. George H.W. Bush won the nomination, but after that challenge, he couldn't win the presidency. Is that dynamic possible here with Bill Weld?
Same with Jimmy Carter when he ran. Ted Kennedy when he ran against Jimmy Carter. I think it's very possible. You know, Bill Weld, when he ran for governor in 1990, was a super long shot. I worked for him then. We couldn't get enough votes at the Republican State Convention to get on the ballot. We had to get petitions. And he won that, and he became the first Republican governor elected in 20 years in Massachusetts. So he's not afraid of big challenges. He's beaten the odds before. He got reelected with historic numbers, 71%. You know, he's really the perfect alternative, if he decides to run, to Donald Trump. I mean, as U.S. attorney, he won 110 out of 111 corruption cases. He broke up Kevin White's machine, which you remember well, Lawrence, in Boston. Running against a president whose campaign manager, a deputy campaign manager, national security advisor, foreign policy advisor, are all now felons. I mean, that's just a perfect contrast for somebody who could go in and clean up what is clearly a mess. He balanced a budget. That's something Republicans seem to have completely forgotten about. So he'll definitely be a strong voice to give people a real alternative if they have a different vision of the country and the party.
And Stuart, talk about him as a campaigner, because I believe you worked on at least one of his Massachusetts governor's campaigns.
I did. I worked on both of them in 90 and 94.
Yeah. Talk about his ability to roll with what becomes the Trump experience in a Republican primary.
Well, you know, he's very quick. He doesn't take things personally. In a debate with John Silber, he accused him of coming over in the Mayflower, and he famously said, "No, my family didn't come over in the Mayflower. We sent the servants over with the silver." And you know, and everybody fell down laughing, and that was the end of that. He's a big guy in all senses of the word. He has a big heart and a big soul. He sort of embraces this. So I think that he'll really enjoy, if he decides to running in New Hampshire. And there's this weird thing in New Hampshire that the person that seems to enjoy it the most seems to do very, very well in New Hampshire. I learned that lesson when John McCain was running against George Bush, and I was working for George Bush. They were having a lot more fun in the McCain campaign.
And John Meacham, Bill Weld is a tall guy. He's that big guy. He takes the same space that Trump takes up. And as Stuart just mentioned, he obviously has a sense of humor. He had to. He survived Boston politics. He was running against that Boston Democratic machine all the time, and they were trying to push him around. And I have to say, I observed from them that they developed a real respect for, a grudging respect, I should call it, a grudging respect for his ability to beat them.
You're exactly right. He's a happy warrior.
Yeah.
I'm an admirer of Governor Weld in that sense. And he's a TR Republican,
yes,
right? I mean, which is vanishingly rare breed now. I think he's perfect for this. And I think he'll have fun. And I think he'll, as Stuart says, I think he'll communicate that he's having fun. I remember him saying back probably 20 years ago now, when we were in the middle of some moment where we wanted an independent to come in and save us from the pettiness of politics. And he said, you know, everyone denounces the pettiness of politics. I love politics. So he's perfect.
Yeah, and Stuart, as we know, there's a few things more dangerous than a smart politician who has nothing to lose, and that would be Bill Weld in this campaign. Stuart Stevens, John Meacham, thank you both very much for joining us tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.